Hi, Chris DeLeon here of Gam Keto, and we'll talk about today is a pretty short and to the point message. It's about kind of what game jams are great for, and maybe where they're less useful to us, and in a way that they're not. These aren't in conflict. It's to make sure that you're not just relying only on jams, and I'll explain why here in a sec. So game jams are really excellent for like 3 different kinds of situations, right? Game jams are great for introductory level. If it's someone's first venturing into making a game, it can be a lot less intimidating. That smaller time frame, some support, some structure, some thematic guidelines, etc. Those can help for being just pure intro kind of stuff. Game jams are also great for networking, for meeting new game developers, whether it's an online game jam, whether it's an in-person game jam. It's a chance to get to know more personally and through their projects, more peers on more teams. Even if you bring a team of your people to a local game jam meetup, you wind up meeting other teams in person. It's a great way to continue to expand our network of other developers. It's also great for experimentation, for exploration development, for prototyping. Things that you would never want to throw months at because it seems too weird or too uncertain. But maybe, maybe there's going to be some gold in those rivers. You want to try those out in game jam kind of scope. And that's where those really are excellent. Even for extremely experienced game developers. I still know some really veteran game developers who go to game jams, do some weird experimental exploratory stuff. Maybe 1 in 20 of those become the seed of a longer project. But it's otherwise it's a chance to do something weird that they would not have an outlet for in their usual projects. Now, again, so it's great for those things. Where game jams are not really a great fit is for our long-term main practice, right? So if someone only really makes games at game jams, what you'll see is that year after year, they are indeed expanding their network, building some comfort at it, and also exploring some different ideas, but they're not really getting better. They're kind of plateauing where they're at. And the reason for this is for the same reason as anything else in our lives, right? I mean, if someone wanted to get better at running, they can't just demolish their body running incredibly hard as many hours as they can for 3 days of the year, right? It's almost absurd to picture. Or the same expectation for weightlifting, right? Someone just can't exercise ridiculously hard for 3 or 4 or 5 days a year and then expect the rest of the year to kind of like just be, mind off of it, body off of it. That's not how we get better at things any more than, again, even for studying things, right? You don't just massively dig into a subject for a few days. Maybe some people do cramming before tests, but we also know those same people don't keep the material like the folks who find a way to spread it out. Whether they're studying physics, chemistry, math, computer science, art, literature, whatever, you got to spread it out. And that's where real practice happens. That's where real long-term sustainable self-improvement comes from, is finding a way to build our habits and our consistent practice around where in each week, on a normal week, looking at a standard week schedule. So notwithstanding special events and unusual travel and things that come up. But on a normal week, when and where does that practice happen? When does it fit in? And in the same way as some of the busiest people in the world, right? I mean, major company CEOs, whatever, find ways to fit in some exercise or find ways to fit in reading books or find ways to do these kind of personal developments. Game development's in the same kind of realm of whatever obligations and duties and things you have. There's still some scope that it can fit in. And I'm not saying that everyone has the same amount of available time, that everyone can expect the same kind of results out of it. But I am to say that whether it's a couple hours Tuesday nights, whether it's waking up early on Wednesdays and Fridays, whether it's dedicating early Saturday afternoon each week to it, wherever it is you can find that couple pockets of time. And it might be the equivalent of a few episodes of Netflix, or it might be the equivalent of just some extra scrolling on Facebook, which we all do. And it's not a terrible thing in moderation. I'm just saying those moments add up in a way that if you can fit that time in sustainably week after week, spreading it out, then you get a lot of cool benefits out of practice in that way, where it's no longer this kind of thing where in the game jams, one of the ways that we've seen that hurt people longer term in their skill development, if they only lean on practicing in those sprint kind of situations, is that they never learn to have to self-regulate how they write code or how they develop a project so that when they look at their own code months later, it still makes sense to them. Like, we all know that that's conceptually a shortcut we all have to take to a limited degree. But man, when you're piping something out in a few days, it never comes back to bite you. And the way that if you're building something over a period of 5 or 6 months, you begin to have some personal practical need to clean up or change your approach or change your consistency or come up with a better convention for your formatting, your labels or something to help you keep that manageable. And that's a valuable long-term skill, right? That's also something where when a project drags out, for one way to put it, almost a negative, but when a project stretches out over a longer span of time, it often actually winds up getting these really positive influences of both outside world kind of interlacing with it, where, when I don't just shut out the outside world for 3 days and cram on a jam and then, step out and kind of squint as the sun's up again, when I'm allowed to interstitially bring other things into my life, between I do some practice here on maybe like say Tuesday evenings, right? And then other days I'm reading other books, I'm watching a show here or there, maybe I see a movie on Friday, play some other games on a Saturday, whatever. Those things can find their way back into our work because we can kind of thread them back into it in sort of some outside inspiration, or just talking to people about it, or even just in reflection that this builds in some time when it's sort of baking in our back burner. And some of that's when our best realizations, our best epiphanies, our best creative breakthroughs happen, where for a long time we're kind of in the middle of a project, but because we're not forced on that really tight, just around the corner schedule, we're able to kind of have a moment to think back on with some distance. When I did that thing, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but maybe it's not now, right? And so now we're in a position to change it or to do something with it. Now, I still think it's valuable to have deadlines, just not tightly around the corner, maybe like say 1 month away, 2 months, 5 months away, whatever. But to not have them always just right around the corner, it forces us to practice some other skills, some other discipline about how we do our work, about how we fit it around our lives, make sure it's a sustainable thing. There's phases of our life where it's easier to set the whole world on hold for 48 hours. There's periods of our life where other obligations make that increasingly difficult for us to do. So all I'm saying, again, this is not anti-game jam. And at the core, it's really great for those three things. First, game development, for networking and growing your developer network, as well as for experimental exploratory game development. It's really great for those things. Where you don't want to lean on is as your only outlet for game development practice, or it's a good chance you're going to find yourself kind of plateauing. You really want to find ways to build in that practice year round. It's the same sort of thing we do with our Game Keto approach to stuff. There's other approaches out there. Whatever yours might be, just make sure you're steadily getting practice at game development. I think you're going to be much happier with the results you're going to see coming out of your work over a longer time period. So anyway, that's it for now. Chris Delion here. Some updates coming to you soon about a new Patreon I'm getting set up for Game Keto. Thanks.